Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and welcome to all of you in today's lecture. Today I'm going to explain the chemistry of drug receptor interactions. I've told you in my previous lectures the drugs do target receptors inside the body. Those receptors could be certain enzymes. They could be ion channels, they are a part of the cell membranes mostly. They could be the biomolecules. Drugs do target receptors, mean drug along with the receptor, they make an interaction and develop drug receptor, we call it complex, drug receptor complex, it is formed. Due to the formation of drug receptor complex, the drug finally shows its pharmacological activity. Pharmacological activity mean drug show its activity, it shows effect in the body. So drug receptor interaction, the formation of this complex actually, it depends upon the three-dimensional structure of the receptor. Again, drug and receptor do interact with each other and develop a complex. Due to the development of this complex, drug is unable to show its effect, in the form of a pharmacological activity. And this drug receptor complex formation actually depends upon the three-dimensional structure of the receptor. Secondly, it depends upon the structural electronic features of drug molecule, The drug receptor complex is developed for the expression of the pharmacological activity of the drug, and the development of the complex actually depends upon the three-dimensional structure of the receptor and also the structural, stereochemical, electronic features of the drug molecules. Okay, so this interaction between drug and receptor for the complex formation actually depends upon the structural features of the receptor as well as the structural features of the drug molecule. How it really works out, let me explain that further. I can write it drug receptor interaction okay, it broadly could be divided as one is called irreversible interaction. Okay, irreversible, you may call it as a permanent interaction as well. The other is reversible. reversible interaction, or you may call it also the temporary one, temporary interaction, you know. So drug receptor interactions broadly are of two types. One is supposed to be the irreversible, the other one is supposed to be the reversible one. When the interaction will be reversible and when the interaction will be irreversible, that actually depends upon the structural features, the electronic features, the substituents, the chemistry of the substituent present on the surface of the receptor, as well as the substituents present on the drug molecules. Okay. Irreversible, for irreversible interactions, actually the drug develops, I would call it covalent bonding actually with receptor. For a permanent interaction, for an irreversible interaction, the drug is supposed to make a covalent bond with the surface group of the receptor, you know. In this case, the drug develops, you know, ionic interactions. It could be hydrogen bonding. Okay. It could be van der Waals forces, you know, type of interactions are over there. So these are the, it could be dipole-dipole interaction. So this is how, when a drug is supposed to form a permanent bonding, irreversible interaction, then means the drug is going to develop a covalent bonding with the receptor. In that case, the receptor, surface of the receptor will be occupied permanently. Okay, the receptor will not be recovered afterwards in its pure form. Its surface will be occupied permanently by the drug molecules. In such cases, the receptors are new receptors are reproduced actually in the body. After the medication process, the body actually reproduces its receptors, those were occupied permanently by the drug molecules, because the surface of those receptors have permanently been blocked, they have been denatured, you know, they won't be able to make bonding with the natural endogenous molecules for the normal functioning of the body. However, in such cases, the drug interacts through temporary interactions, through hydrogen bonding, van der Waals forces, or dipole-dipole interactions, and they are temporary interactions. The drugs gets released from the surface of the receptors after a period of specific periods that are actually depends upon the nature of the interaction, depends upon the nature of the type of the receptor and the nature of the drug, you know. So by the way, the receptors are released, you know, after the medication process. So keep in mind, the irreversible interactions mean the covalent bond formations, and the reversible means the ionic interaction, the hydrogen bondings, you know. Where the irreversible, the permanent bonding is actually usually done by the drug molecules. mostly the anti-cancer agents, you know. They are also called alkylating agents. They develop permanent bonds, covalent bonds in the receptors. Secondly, antibacterial drugs, antibacterial agents, antibacterial drugs, you know, they develop irreversible interaction. One of the example is penicillin, you know. It makes permanent bonds, you know, with the receptors. So these are the few of the examples. And most of the drugs in general, mostly drugs do fall in this category, which form reversible interactions. So irreversible, permanent mean those drugs which form covalent bonds, permanent bonds, you know, while the reversible interactions is developed through ionic interaction, hydrogen bondings, and van der Waals or dipole-dipole interactions, you know. Let me give you one example. Few of the known drugs. This is a known alkylating agent, you know. A known alkylating agent. It interacts with alpha adrenoreceptors. A known alkylating agent. It interacts with alpha adrenoreceptors. These are actually the receptors which do interact with adrenaline, you know. You do have an idea about adrenaline. It's a hormone. Within human body, adrenaline is a hormone, and this hormone actually interacts with receptor for the control of the blood pressures, you know. We have an alkylating agent, this sort of the alkylating agent, which acts as antagonist of this adrenaline. It interacts with adrenoreceptors, which has certain, you know, groups available at the surface. They could be oxygen, sulfur, or nitrogen, you know. At the surfaces they are available. The alkylating agent, what it does really, through this sort of a nucleophilic substitution reaction, you may call it, what happens over here, a three-membered ring is developed at this place, you know, and this nitrogen carries positive charge due to the excess of valency. I can bring it together, you know. Then what happens? This lone pair attacks at the ring, and then the nitrogen withdraws electron towards itself. Then what happens actually? I can write it some again so you can understand it easily. Finally, alpha adrenoreceptor, you know, I can write it adrenoreceptor it makes a covalent bond with the alkylating agent, you know. So due to the development of a permanent covalent bond, now this receptor has permanently been occupied by this drug molecule. Okay, so this is one of the examples where drug molecules have the ability to make permanent interactions through covalent bonding formations with the receptors. Over here, this drug is acting as an antagonist of adrenaline, you know. You can imagine that these receptors are usually available in the body to interact with adrenaline. Now, once its surface has been occupied by this alkylating agent, they won't be available for interaction with adrenaline hormones, you know. So, this alkylating agents, such alkylating agents are actually used under situation when we want to control hypertensions, you know. It acts as an anti-hyper agent, you know. So this is how I've given you one of the example where a drug molecule develops a permanent, a covalent bond with the surface of the receptor, representing the example of a permanent or irreversible interaction between drug and its receptor, you know. Another example is, I've just told you about the penicillin, you know. Generally, it has this sort of structure, you know. Penicillin, where a beta-lactam ring is there. What happens? It do interact with amines of the protein biomolecule. So there, it moves there, and in fact, what is happening there are nucleophilic substitution reactions at carbonyl derivative, you know. A nucleophilic substitution reaction with the carbonyl derivatives. Okay, a new bond has been developed between the amine group and this carbonyl carbon, you know. So this is also an example where antibacterial agent, a penicillin, has been used to develop a covalent bond with the biomolecule, you know, with the amine of the biomolecules. Another example where a covalent interaction has been developed, and such interactions do block the surface of the receptors permanently, you know. So this is one of the examples over here I'm just trying to convey you guys. For reversible interaction, what happens, you know? For reversible interactions, the drug and the receptor surface both have ionizable groups, you know. They could have acidic group, they could have basic group, they could have sulfonamides. Okay, They could have hydroxyls, they could have phenoxys, something like that. If the drug molecule carries polarizable groups, also the receptor surfaces do carry polarizable groups, then there could be the development of hydrogen bondings, there could be development of dipole-dipole interactions, there could be the development of van der Waals forces, van der Waals interactions, So under such conditions, the interactions between drug and the receptors are supposed to be the reversible ones. They are not developed through covalent bond formation, Give an example of the salicylic acids, If any receptor surfaces also carries, some sort of polarizable acidic groups, or maybe they carry basic groups, so there are chances of hydrogen bond formations. Okay, there are chances of hydrogen bond formations. Under other conditions, let's say the drug molecule do not carry any polarizable functionality, The drug do not carry, let's say, one can imagine. Similarly, the receptor surfaces, they also do carry, like they could also carry unpolarizable surfaces. So there could be electronic interactions, They are the weaker ones, they are the reversible ones. So they are possible, So what I'm trying to convey you guys, depending upon the nature of the substituent present on the drug molecules, those substituents could develop covalent bonds with the substrate, with the receptor, if the receptor also carries such groups over there as well. So chemistry, substituents, nature of the substituent drug and the nature of the substituent the receptor, both are responsible for the development of interactions, whether the interactions are going to be the covalent ones, permanent ones, whether the interaction between drug and the receptor is going to be a reversible one. That depends upon the chemistry nature of the substitution on both sides, the drug as well as on the receptor. I'm going to give another example, just trying to convey. Let's say I'm drawing one of the drug molecule. It also carries nitrogen. I'm just taking few examples from the literature, just to explain you guys. I'm taking from the literature. So this is the one of the drug molecule. Okay, what I'm trying to convey, what I'm trying to give you an example that what sort of the reactions they could develop. Let's say I can write chloro over here as well. If we look at over here, so from here it seems that this side could make a nucleophilic substitution. Okay, so it can develop a sort of a covalent bond. This is a sort of could have a sort of non-polar interactions through electrostatic interactions. This is also could have electrostatic interactions because no polar groups are available around here. No groups are available which can develop a covalent bond, This can develop a hydrogen bonding. This can also develop a hydrogen bonding. This nitrogen can also develop a hydrogen bonding with the receptors. So what I'm trying to give you from here, a single drug can have a multi-centers. One center has the ability to develop a covalent linkage. The other centers could have that ability to develop a hydrogen bonding or electrostatic interaction, you know. So now when this drug will develop hydrogen bonding, when this drug will develop covalent bonding, when this drug will develop electrostatic interactions, this will entirely depend upon the target receptors. If the receptor has the ability to develop a covalent bonding, I have just shown you, so then this drug will develop a hydrogen bond, covalent bonding. If the receptor has some sort of, you know, non-polar groups available at the surface, then they will have a sort of a, I would say, electrostatic interaction. Such electrostatic interaction could be developed on this side, on this side, on this side, on this side, depending upon the chemistry, stereochemistry, and the rotation of the drug molecules. Similarly, if the drug molecule, if the receptor has the ability, okay, with few polar groups are available, like hydroxyls are there, so they have the ability to develop hydrogen bondings either with this one or either with this one. So depending upon the target, depending upon the nature of the receptor, the drug could show its effect. Okay, let's say this is the drug, it moves into the body. One of the receptor has the ability to develop ionic bond, covalent bonding, so this will make a covalent bonding with that. The other groups are still available. They would develop hydrogen bonding, electrostatic interaction with other targets as well. Such undesirable interactions do lead to side effects, you know, because our prime concern is to develop, let's say, a covalent bonding through this unit, but the other parts, other substituent also have the ability to develop their interactions. So those interactions could lead to show undesirable interactions, unwanted interactions. So those interactions will also show some sort of pharmacological effects, and those pharmacological effects will be regarded as side effect of the drug molecule, you know. Similarly, if we have this drug molecule and we intends to use its hydrogen bonding capacity to interact with certain such groups, such receptors which has the ability to develop hydrogen bonding, so they can develop over here and the drug can show, express its pharmacological actions. At the same time, the drug also has the side which can develop covalent bonds. So what happens? This can develop a covalent bond with any other receptor which is not our requirement, which we don't want actually at that moment of time when we are administering drug. But if that covalent bond develops with any other receptor, that will also be regarded as a side interaction leading to side effects, you know. So what I'm trying to convey, a single drug molecule has the ability to develop more than one type of interactions. The main interaction will leads to show its main pharmacological activity. However, its minor, either its other interaction with other unwanted receptors, they will lead to side effects, you know. So this is what I'm trying to convey. The drug receptor interaction actually do entirely depend upon the chemistry, the nature of the substituents, both the substituents which are present at the drug molecules, similarly the substituents which are present at the receptors. They do control the complex formation. Either the complex is going to be a permanent one, or the interaction of the drug and the receptor is going to be a temporary one. Thank you very much. I hope you got the message. If you do have any question, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.